Yo, my peoples, today's 38. Today's 38 of 75. Today's 38 of 75 hard. In this video, I want to talk about my whole gym session up to date from when I first started, when I was like 16 to now being 22. So I'm going to put some clips in the video so you guys know what I'm talking about exactly. So I'm going to like kind of half this image and then put the training underneath or next to it, wherever how I decide to edit it. So I have pictures of when I first started, right? This is a picture here. And I've used this photo quite a few times on social media. You know, this is my, my like when you do like a gym progress picture, or like you might do like an Instagram reel. Oh, this is how I started. This is how I am now, right? I use that photo a lot, and the reason why I use that photo is because I didn't take many photos when I started out in the gym. The reason for that is because I didn't care about how I look. I was ready to not look like that anymore. I had my motivation. I remember Black Panther came out, or like Black Panther was recently released, and typical, I'm looking at like how they're built, and I was like, yeah, like I'll be real, like that was like my motivation. That's what kind of like tipped me over the edge to train. Seeing how they were just so like big, and I'm just there, just tall and lanky. So this is the image I used a lot because I didn't really have many other images, and my first year, I didn't want to look how I looked, and I didn't even want to look back. Now I think about it now, and I think, you know what, that was stupid. Like there was so much other like video ideas, or so many like content ideas I could have done when I first started. But my idea in my head was I don't want to see myself work out. I don't want to take progress photos until at least a year or two in. I'm going to take this one. This one isn't even like a selfie. Like this is literally a screenshot from a video when I was playing football. I was literally like 16. And like I said, I didn't really take much photos. I have some, but like I'm pretty much like naked, so I'm not gonna put that in the clip. And I just didn't want to look like that. I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to just get my session done and change as quick as possible. But I had a lot of motivation, I had a lot of drive. I was ready to make the change, and I was making change. So that was me when I was like 16 years old. These times I had a junior pass, and I think I said this in a video before. I had a junior pass because I was like really young in the gym at the time. I couldn't access the gym all the time, and I was going to school and college. So if I wanted to go gym, I was only allocated like only a few hours in a day, and it wasn't. And on the weekday, it was like somewhere in the afternoon. On the weekend, I think it was all day I can go. But I wanted to train more than just a weekend. I wanted to go almost every single day. So I would finish school or I'll finish college and I would just run straight to the gym. Not literally run, I'd probably get like transport, but like I'd made it a priority to be in the gym at a certain time. And with that whole like the junior pass, I had to make sure I was there. Otherwise, I'm not gonna let in. I'm not gonna be let in. Like my card would literally not let me in. So I had to make sure I was on time and got my session in. I can't remember if I was allowed there for a certain amount of time, but I know I had to be there at a specific time, and I made it happen. My first couple years, I spent pretty much just getting used to what I'm doing. Just the machines. I must have overheard a PT say contract like slowly and then like push out like fast, like with anything. Like for chest example, you bring it down slowly and then you power up. And I kind of took that information, even though he didn't even say it to me, I took that and I kind of incorporated it into my workouts. So every time I do pull-ups, I always do it slowly. If I do chest press, I'll do it slowly. So I was really getting a good idea of how to use the machines, and I wasn't too fussed about my progress. Like I said, I wanted to change as quick as I can, but I knew like realistically, if I get injured, then I'm just gonna just set myself so much further back, or even worse, like I'm gonna be a really long-term injury that's gonna set me back for literally years, and I didn't want to be a part of that. So I was willing to just take things slow, do things slowly, get used to the certain ways, get used to the machine, because this is stuff I've never been in the gym. A 16-year-old is not gonna ever be in a gym before the first time he goes. Like there's no way, very unlikely, unless he's an athlete. There was a gym at our school, but we wasn't really introduced to it many times because we're young, and like there's a whole thing about our bones gonna bend and all of that. So I kind of kept the gym out of the picture until I was like like a late teenager, when I was 16, 17. So I was always concerned about health, and I wasn't willing to break my back in the first year of training. So I made sure I took it slowly in the first year or two. the picture I showed originally, you can see now that I've kind of made a little bit of progress. I wouldn't say, I was like, getting called like gym bro at that time. Like I was still very new to the gym, and I would always go with someone. I wasn't even confident enough to go by myself. So the first 2 years I just spent trying to get used to the weight, and that was it. Trying to see what kind of progress comes from that. I was literally the lightest kid in my class, and I was the tallest. So I was just skin and bones, and I kept it in my mind. You're not gonna look any sort of like decent size until you're probably like your third, fourth year in. So my first couple of years, I didn't expect anything. Like I even look back now, or when I did look back, maybe like a year or two ago, it's like you should be able to like be appreciative of how far you've come and how long you've been disciplined for. And that's maybe something that a lot of people forget about. They're always just, trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger, but not, taking the reward that they've given themselves. The discipline that you've done, the dieting that you've done, the training that you've done, that kind of goes all out the window because you're too busy chasing the physique that you're trying to get. Sometimes even with myself, I knew last year that I weighed more and I was bigger, and I'll compare myself to last year. I won't congratulate myself or be thankful for the hard work I've done for over like the past 5, 6 years, to get myself to that position or to get myself into this position I am now. So it can be very easy to just discredit all your hard work or the amount of hours that you've trained into the gym because you're still not at your final form. And that's just like that's not the correct mentality to have in the gym. Like if if you wasn't comparing yourself, and I could speak for myself as well, if I wasn't comparing myself to other people in the past, or if I didn't compare myself when I used to a lot, I wouldn't want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like if I see myself and I was proud of it because I saw how far I've come, I've seen the amount of discipline that I've put into making my physique look good. Naturally, I'll be happy and I'll be grateful and I'll be congratulating myself because I put in so much effort. But the comparison figure always comes. Someone's roided up, or someone just got simply better genetics than you. Someone might be taller than you, and it's just like you beat yourself for it. But there's no like the work you've just done. Is that all like just worth? Is that worthless now? Is that all for nothing? Like that can be very easily done, and it happens a lot in the fitness industry. Not even on social media, like even behind the phones or behind the camera, like people who walk around in the gym who are young, they might see a good physique and they don't even know what they take, or it's just simply they've just got genetics that are better than yours in terms of building muscle, and it's just like, oh, like my progress doesn't mean anything, or I might as well just start taking enhancements. And it's just like, if you didn't compare yourself in the beginning, you wouldn't have felt like that. I've suffered from it. I've compared myself before, and it ultimately it didn't even like do anything. Like you don't achieve anything doing that. You just beat yourself up. If you want to progress, and if you've got an image in your mind of how big you want to get, that's fine. But if your way of motivation is looking at other physiques and telling yourself you're never gonna get it, then how is that motivation? That's just straight up torture. You're just torturing yourself. Anyways, so I'll say the third, fourth year-ish, when I'm like 19, 20, as you can see here, I was maybe like intermediate. These times I was just about benching 100. I think I benched 100 for maybe like 8 reps. I think I was weighing over 90. For me, that's a lot because I'm tall. Someone who's like below 6 foot and they weigh 90 kilos, like you look very, very big. But for someone who's naturally taller, 90 kilos might not look so big on someone. If someone who's like 6'5", 100 kilos might not even look like anything. So just because I say 90 kilos and, maybe someone who's not 90 kilos is thinking, that's a lot. Consider my weight being a factor as well. Like I'm not even trying to brag, like I'm genuinely just saying, like, it can be very hard to put muscle on when you're tall. So these times I was benching more, I was happy with my progress. Also during lockdown as well, I was training, but the problem with lockdown is that I had the motivation for about a month or two, and then I had kettlebells. As you can see in the video, I had kettlebells, and all I would do is just curls. Just literally, I think I did curls. I tried to do like a pec fly laying on the floor. I didn't record it, but this is what I remember. I did a pec fly on the floor with one arm because I had 2 kettlebells. They didn't even weigh the same. And I would do curls and I would rotate so they both get the even amount of weight on them. These times, I think I wouldn't pass off being, skin and bones. I think I had like a decent amount of size. I don't know if you can even tell if I lifted or not, but I think I was happy with this physique. I wouldn't say I was satisfied, but like I can see progression and I'm liking where things are going. I think that was where I was at with the lockdown period. But I did kind of stumble a time where I didn't train for a long time and I couldn't. But that's not an excuse. I could have done my daily push-ups, I could have done my kettlebells, but after the first month, I was just like, I lost motivation, I lost drive. I knew I wasn't, this isn't going to do anything, so I stopped. And that wasn't the right mindset to have at all. I'm not trying to, say that was the good thing, that was the best thing. It wasn't, because more time it's a mental thing. You're telling yourself that you're going to train and you strengthen your mind doing that. But when you kind of slip up, it's kind of like you're weakening your mind, and your mind is like kind of you kind of get controlled to do the wrong thing, if that makes sense. Your mind becomes weaker, and then like you go off course when you know you should be doing something. When you're not doing it, you're just trying to psychologically convince yourself to not do something because you know it's like easier, or you see no reward in the outcome. And that's how I felt. Like, I'm just training, I'm doing these small little kettlebells, and like there's no reward, I'm not gonna get any bigger from it, so I stopped. Like I said, that's not the right mentality, that's not the right attitude. And if I was to go back, I would probably train for longer, but purely just for my mental, just so I can train my mind and tell myself, I'm doing this every single day. When lockdown was over and training was normal again, I was benching 100, and like I said, I felt like I looked okay. This is when I was about 20 now. So not even that long ago, like 3 years maybe. In my head, I'm still thinking, like I feel like I could be bigger, but I don't want to, compare myself because I started really skinny. Someone who was, quite chubby, I'm thinking to myself, all he's got to do is lose a bit of weight, lose like 10, 20 kilos. Then he's going to look like that he trains a lot. For someone like me, I'm thinking, okay, I need to put on a lot of weight and then maybe cut back some of the weight so then I look really lean and bigger. This was my mentality in my head. It was just more of like a comparison game, and I wasn't really focusing or rewarding myself for the training that I did. It was just more of like chasing the end of a rainbow. And this physique here that I'm showing, I thought I was ready to cut because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've been training for about 4 or 5 years now. Surely if I cut now, I'm gonna look bigger. But in my head, I haven't even spoke about dieting in this video because I didn't start dieting until I was past 20. I only started dieting when I was 21. Imagine I was training for about 4 or 5 years, and only after the full fifth year I started my dieting. I was committed in the gym. I would always lift as much as I can. I would go to failure a lot of the times, but I wasn't committed enough to like, let me track what I'm eating. Let me get onto a diet. Let me start weighing my food. I never touched any of that stuff because in my head I'm thinking, okay, I'm committed, but I'm not that committed. Like I'm not gonna start weighing my food. Like that's just a bit too much. Like I'm not like, I'm not like trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm just trying to put weight on and look a bit like half decent. That led me to having this physique and not even being happy with it, knowing that I'm not even prioritizing diet. All I'm thinking in my head is, eat as much as you can, eat as much as you can. That's all that matters. That's what was going through. That's what I was going through. And, this just comes with experience, and this just comes with thinking, what's right in the moment. When you haven't got enough knowledge because you're still learning in the process, or you're not willing to learn more, you're kind of stuck. So what I'm saying is that I never prioritized my diet at all. I never thought about dieting. All I had in my mind was maybe 4 eggs, maybe some beans, whatever mum or dad cooks me, and that's about it. I didn't have any idea I knew what protein was, of course. I knew what protein built muscle, but I never thought about pound of grams of protein. I never thought about how much I actually weighed. I just looked at myself physically, and I would take progress photos and think, okay, do I look bigger than a few months ago? If I do, then it's cool. What I'm doing is working, whatever. But when I was 21, I wanted the cut, but I wasn't prioritizing my diet. So I started my first cut when I was about, I think when I just turned 21, I started my first cut. And even when I was cutting, I didn't even track that. I just had idea in my mind of like, okay, let me just cook a bit of chicken. I looked on Instagram Reels, high protein diet. So at least at then times, I knew I need to have some protein in there. But I would look at high protein diet. I said like 400 calories, like 50 grams of protein. I did high protein smoothies. I did all of that stuff. And I didn't track any of it. I didn't even weigh anything. I just started like blending. I just started cooking, and I thought that was cutting. But when I realized what I'm doing is a complete waste of time because I've got nothing to go off with. I've got no numbers. I have no idea how much calories I'm consuming. I stopped, and I think that only lasted for about a month. and my physique didn't change. I didn't get small, I didn't get any bigger or nothing. Then I decided to, okay, you know what, let me stop this. I'm gonna start bulking again, all when I'm 21. But this time I prioritized my diet. I weighed myself. I think I was still at 90 kg. And I was thinking to myself, okay, right, I need to get 180 grams of protein. So let me just round it up to 200. I'm sure, surely more the better, right? So I was eating cans of tuna every day. I was getting my milk in. I was cooking. I was getting chicken breast in. I was getting nuts in. I was getting peanut butter in. Anything that was high protein, I was getting in. Within the course of a month or maybe 2 months, I'm noticing my shoulders look wider. I'm noticing that, you know, my arms look a bit bigger, or my chest is like, my posture's kind of coming up a bit because my chest is bigger. I noticed that when I was benching, my benching was going up. I went from 100, I was stuck on 100 kg for about 2 years. I couldn't bench, max I could bench was like 105 or 110. So all of a sudden I'm benching 130. And then when I noticed I was getting stronger, because I judged my progression, my strength and my weight, if I'm going in the right direction of bench. I knew that if I was benching more, or if I'm at least maintaining, I know that I'm on a decent path. At least. If I'm obviously benching more than last week, or if I'm benching more than a month ago, then I know that, you know, I'm making good progress. But if I'm struggling with my benching, then in my head I'm like, okay, I'm not eating enough, or I'm not training hard enough. So bench was a really good way for me to decide if I'm making good progress or not. I upped my protein, I was getting bigger, I was benching 130, and then I benched 140. This is the first time I benched 140, and I, it felt very, like, I felt like I was capable of doing it again. And like, it wasn't just a one-time thing. Benching 140 kg felt more satisfying than 100, because 3 plates on each side just felt a bit better than 2 plates. And I feel like less people can bench 3 plates on each side than two. So I feel like I'm like, you know, more in like the 1% or 3% of people who lift weights. So that was very, like, I felt very proud of myself, but I knew I want to get, it was a chasing game. I wanted to get 150, I wanted to get 160, I wanted to get 170, and I was getting those numbers. Before that, I went on another cut, but I wouldn't call it a full cut. It was more of like I want to shed some fat off cut, but probably like 2-3 kilos. I wanted to just see some abs. That was it. There was already abs in my physique, but I just wanted to just, you know, just see a bit more. As I'm doing this mini cut, I tracked, I tracked my calories, I tracked my protein, I tracked everything. I think I even tracked my water. I had an app that I was tracking everything on, and I was still getting stronger. I was getting 150, I was getting 160. But when I was tracking, I was just cutting out a lot of like carbs. So most of my calories were the same, because if I have nuts and protein yogurts and chicken and milks, you know, if I had enough of that, then I'd keep it. I'm not going to limit all of that, because that's protein. I didn't want to, you know, cut that down as well. But anything to do with oats or maybe chocolate, maybe sweets, I didn't want anything to do with it. So doing that, it was a little bit like a keto diet, just like removing all the carbs. I didn't remove all of it though. Like, I still kept a little bit in there, and I just felt like I was getting leaner and I was getting stronger. But it wasn't a big deficit. It was probably like 200-300 calorie deficit, and my bench was going up. People are telling me, you know, what are you doing? Like, how, like, you just, you know, decided to just like get bigger now or something? Because like, it was like the space of like 2 months, and that's when I realized, like, I did never thought prioritizing your diet is this important. Like, my physique changed, everything changed then. I'm thinking, like, it was kind of just like, I'm kind of like pissed off right now, because I could have done this ages ago. I never really was fully committed to do the diet thing. But if I knew the reward from it, I would have done it like probably like the second, third year. But the thing is, my first 3 years, I saw a good amount of, like, you know, good progress there. I just wanted to get used to the weights. I wasn't fully committed. I was committed because, like I said earlier, you know, I wanted to get out of this physique as quick as possible. I wanted to do it in good time. I wanted to make sure I train properly. I want to make sure that, you know, I do the machines right. I don't want to get injured. So I did my second cut, my first main cut, and this was the end of 2022. And I felt like I looked really good here. I was lean and I felt quite big, and I felt like I had, like, my veins were coming out, and like, I was very confident. Like, I wasn't cocky or arrogant, but I was just proud of myself, and like, I feel like I did really well. Again, like, it wasn't enough, and I wanted to, you know, bulk after that. So at the end of 2022, I finished my cut for 2023, and I was like, okay, bulk time. I'm gonna bulk, and now I know how to, how to track protein, how to track my calories. I'm gonna just up everything. I'm gonna up carbs. I'm gonna up fats. I'm gonna up protein. In the space of like 3 months, my bench was 150. My bench went to 160, and then there was a point when it even went to 170, but that took me probably about 6 months into 2023, and I was just looking like, people were just telling me like, you're on like roids, bro, like just give it up. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I genuinely just switched up my diet in it, and like I was a lot. I don't know how to put it. Like these times, I was weighing well over 100 kilos, and even with that, like I had the appetite to eat so much food compared to like now. I don't have the appetite as much. But them times, bro, like I was hungry. Like I wanted to see the progress every single day. That was the first time I proper prioritized like diet. Like I already had the experience from when I cut in 2022. So in 2023, I tracked my bulk. I was running to the grocery shops every single week. Eggs was there, getting all my eggs in, getting all my fats, all my meats in, and just doing it like 10 times over, bro. Like I said, I got stronger, I was benching more, and like I said earlier, and I knew I'm getting bigger if my bench is going up. And I was really now prioritizing bench. I even wanted to get 4 plates. I got 3 plates about 5 months ago, and now I'm trying to get 4 plates in the space of 5 months. I didn't get there, but I was close. And if I stuck to that diet, I probably would have been there by now. But there was a time I wasn't happy. I felt like I looked too bloated. My stomach felt like it was coming out. My face felt big. I was happy with the size of my arms and my chest and my legs, but everything else I wasn't happy about. My back, yeah, I was happy with my back as well, but mainly my face and my stomach. I just felt too bloated, and I felt like my stomach was just popping out. I said to myself, it's time to cut. And when I cut, I took it very, very seriously. I tracked, obviously. I did all of my cardio. I trained properly. I always train the best as I can. But my bench started to creep down. And I also got injured at the same time. So I couldn't bench for a long, long time. So I now no longer can use bench to see if I'm getting stronger or not. Because if I knew if my bench is going down a lot, then I know I need to eat more food. But when I got injured, it was like, okay, I don't even know if I'm getting bigger, or I don't even know if I'm maintaining my strength or not, because I can't even bench because I've got this massive injury going on. Cut down, I think I lost over 10 kilos and I was lean again. I looked the same as I looked in 2022. And ever since, I've been lean bulking, trying to maybe get that physique back again, but not with the bloatiness. Like I'm not trying to have the bloaty face and the bloaty stomach coming out. So I'm trying to get a new version of that physique. That's my current goal at the moment. I don't want to do it in a dirty way. I don't want to, throw down anything under the sun to put that weight back on, because it wasn't healthy. The way I did it last year wasn't the healthiest way. And I'm going to try to do that again, but healthier. And you can kind of see it in my face or in my skin, my stomach, that, I've maintained it, or I've got there again without the bloatiness. That's been my goal, I would say, since the beginning of this year. So that's where I'm at. As you can see, I have lost quite a lot since 2023, but putting it back on, I'm just on a slow road to doing that again. And my bench is going up, so I know that I'm on the right path in order to get there again. Not something I want to do. It's not something I'm willing to do if I have to eat everything, or I have to just like act like an animal, like with the food, and start eating stuff that's not even healthy for me. It's just so I can put weight on. Like I don't want to step on the scale and then be satisfied that I see 100 or 105 again. But I've thrown down so much unhealthy foods, and it's just messed up my brain, or it's just messed up my long-term health. Like there's no point in that. I've been doing it in a healthier way. Peanut butter, my eggs, and my nuts. I'm trying to get my nuts in as well, and Greek yogurt as well. So that's been helping me. But I just remember last year, like the bloatiness that I had, I'm trying to avoid that. That's my 16 to 22 transformation. You can argue and say that looks better in 2023. That's up to you. But I feel better now in 2024 physically, because I don't feel bloated. I feel more comfortable, confident when I wear certain things. So I feel like my gut isn't sticking out. Being disciplined is something that I'm happy of, and training endless hours and trying to eat properly for so many times, cooking my own meals. Am I happy or am I proud of that? 100%. And that's just things that people just are not willing to say, that they're happy about, because, they're comparing themselves to a next person. And if you keep continue to do that, then no matter how big you get, if you're looking at a person who's, that looks better than you in your eyes, you'll never look at yourself and be like, I'm proud of myself. And I had to learn to do that. On the way, there was loads of things I had to learn. There was loads of things I had to pick up on. The diet thing, how to train certain muscles properly, how to use certain machines. So overlooked in the fitness industry because because people are too busy comparing themselves to someone else. If you took anything from this video, is just to start being appreciative of your own work and stop putting someone in your eyes has a better physique than you, put you off, and just discredit all the effort that you've made. It's not worth it, bro, because that's how you start to just genuinely hate yourself. So I hope this video helps you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.